My name is Anna Mari Fanthorpe, and I'll be your host today. Today, I have Paul Wilson here from Chomp, and we're going to be talking about food safety and protecting your brand. So we're going to get into some FAQs. We're going to get into Chomp and what they're all about and how they're actually going to help you to be audit ready. And yeah, looking forward to getting all of this information from those of you in the food industry. Now, we know it is 10 a.m. You might be currently working and you're watching this a bit later, and that's why we do record these sessions. For those of you that are tuning in via social media, you can connect with us throughout this session by using the comments or the chat function, depending on what platform you're on. So I just want to welcome Paul. Thank you so much for joining us here today on Digital Boost.
Yep, thank you, Anna Marie. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. Well, what I might do is I'm going to open up all those chats and I'll let you get started, but I'll first make sure that your share screen's working. So Let's get on to it.
I'll share my, do you want me to share now?
Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's crack on. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. And how's that looking?
Looks great.
Awesome. Right. So I'll get cracking then. Are we ready to go now, or we want to wait a bit longer?
Nope, we're live. We are live.
Okay, we're live. We're off and racing. Okay, thank you. Well, look, first of all, look, as Anna Marie said, my name is Paul Wilson. I'm the co-founder and the CEO at Chomp. We are a digital food safety platform. So thanks for your time today, and I'm here to hopefully provoke some thoughts around food compliance and why it matters. And I'd like to start by saying that I am not a brand and marketing expert, but I am a very experienced hospitality operator. So my journey commenced in 2006 when I leapt into owning and operating a small food business in Queenstown, of which I ran that for 8 years. And it was through that time that I learned so much about the hospitality industry. And food safety was part of what we did in the business, but by no means was it my focus. I was more concerned around cost of goods and staff costs, etc., as part of my business metrics. So it was around 2011 that the Queenstown Council, bless their soul, volunteered to be part of MPI's, which is the Ministry of Primary Industries VIP program. So that was called the Voluntary Implementation Program. And that was aimed at trialling the shape and form of what was being proposed for the Food Act of 2014. So there was big change coming. So the council briefed us, individual businesses, and they explained to us what the trial meant and what they were looking for to see when it came to coming on site to do their annual audit. So all records, and there were many, had to be recorded on paper forms, and including things like corrective actions when required. And that was a real critical part of the audit process, which I later found out. And then I had to keep them in folders, and they had to live under a counter, and I had to keep my records for a minimum of 4 years. So it was these records that would heavily impact the food grading I was given each year. I had to display the grading prominently in my business. So that was also a major concern, a new element to what I was doing previously. So over 3 consecutive years, I tried very hard not to repeat the complacency of the previous years. But each time I was advised of my audit date, I felt my heart sink and the mad scramble began. And I thought I was the only operator that was unable to manage their food compliance in their business. And it was only after I opened up to fellow food operators that I found out that we all had a similar experience year on year. So a little bit about Chomp and where we sit. So regulation technology, which is what the sector of tech that Chomp sits under, has grown over the last 10 years in response to ever increasing requirements to show proof and evidence of best and safe practice in operation of a business or a function. And it is not just in New Zealand, this is a worldwide phenomenon that's happening. So as business owners and managers, you are expected to operate legally and accurately under many varied areas of compliancy. Food safety, HR, employment contracts, health and safety, payroll, sale and supply of alcohol, marketing, permits, tax, to list a few. My personal experience proved I couldn't be the master of everything whilst running day-to-day operations. And I often neglected some areas of compliance, which had negative impacts on me and my staff. And it wasn't because I didn't want to do it, and more it was I didn't have the right tools to help guide me when I needed them. Of all the business compliance requirements, it was food safety that I struggled with the most. And it was all up to me. Accountants could help me with my tax, and HR was just a phone call away. But food safety required me and my team to become the experts, and it was a struggle. So this was my journey when it came to my food safety compliance under the VIP program, the Voluntary Implementation Program. And it was like Groundhog Day every year. 6 months out from my audit, we were focused on the tasks, but it was hit and miss, usually more miss with our food safety records in what I called the apathy zone. Around 2 months to 6 weeks before my audit, if you remembered, I began to become a bit more focused and ensuring compliant records were being kept. And you promised yourself you would sit down soon and organise the folders, the worry stage. Panic set in as soon as you opened the letter being advised your audit is set for Tuesday, the 6th of October at 10 a.m. And you run straight to your folders and flick through your records, and it's happened again. Scant, missing, incomplete. So I would push out the audit to get more time to create better records and have something solid to show the verifier. The audit occurs and you explain why records are missing, and you listen and you commit to do better. But all the time you're saying to yourself, things must change. I'm not doing this again. The post-audit hangover occurs when you talk to your teams and reinforce the need to fill in the folders that live under the counter every day. You hope for better and you occasionally check your records. And then it's back to food and staff costs and you enter compliance free fall, where records become hit and miss again. Now, my learning was that paper was not engaging my staff, and it didn't give me clarity as to what I was and wasn't being done. So as a business owner, I was blind, and as an employee, it wasn't front of mind and it was easily forgotten. It was after several years of repeating this curve that I knew that the entire industry had a freight train steaming towards it, and that there had to be a better way to manage such an important job. So when Chomp first started in 2016, I was calling businesses around New Zealand, advising them as to what was coming. The winds of change were upon us. And I was too often met with comments like, I don't know what you're talking about, or our food safety is fine. I haven't made anyone sick yet. The industry was still sitting in the complacency zone. Today, however, in 2022, it is a very different conversation, and with more businesses owning their food safety role and placing a strong emphasis on supporting staff in achieving. So every business needs a brand, and it isn't just about your logo or your property's atmosphere or the way you treat your customers or the food you serve. It's about the total experience you create using every tool at your disposal. And some of these experiences that the customers observe are not obvious to the business owners, managers, and chefs. But it is these observations that influence reviews and recommendations which play a critical part in your brand's recognition. One of my early learnings, which someone pointed out to me, was to sit in the customer's area and look back at what they were seeing in staff working zones. Sit at customer eye level. Understand what your customers are observing while sitting at their tables. People watch. See how your staff are behaving around food and how they're handling the utensils. I found it very eye-opening to observe my business as the customers do. Now, food businesses make profits with good branding. Keeping those profits requires brand protection. An adverse food safety event is not solely related to one, that makes people ill, but also includes issues like foreign objects in food, cleanliness of premise and staff, and procedures around handling food, such as hand washing after touching money. Now, some years ago, I visited a restaurant for lunch. Its brand enticed me. I wanted to try their food. Only to watch chef pick up a spoon and taste from one pot before wiping the spoon on his tea towel, tucked into his apron, and continue to taste from the second pot. Now, I haven't been back since. So here are some essential elements in building and maintaining a brand. And remember, getting there is hard and staying there is even harder. Your logo and other graphical assets shouldn't just be pretty, it should convey exactly what you're about, whether that's distinctive steak sandwiches or world-class soufflés. The same goes for your website, menus, and signage. Your photography should be high quality. Professional photography, I believe, is a must if you want to compete in today's marketplace. Your messaging is important as it sets your tone and delivers expectation. So craft your messaging to tell your story. Build your brand and set the scene. The exterior and interior of your restaurant will leave an impression on your customers. From the architecture and the decor to the ambience you create, it all factors into customer experience and therefore your brand. Your food, its presentation and style must be authentic and in keeping with the promises you are selling in your messaging. The way it is plated, delivered, and the manner the staff present all form impressions. And of course, it must also deliver on taste. Your staff, how do your team members treat your customers? What values have you installed in them? What is your company culture? Customer service always makes an impact. And it's obvious and fair to say that the reverse of these halves will definitely contribute to the demise of brand, patronage, and profit. So while there are other elements to a customer's experience, like wait time and staff behaviour, online reviews are very concerned with what comes from the kitchen. After all, most customers are happy to wait a little longer when the restaurant is busy, if advised, provided the food was on expectations. In the age of social sharing, one embarrassing incident can quickly destroy years of toiling to earn customer trust. Now, more than ever, food safety and hygiene must be one of your business's top priorities. We too often see or read headline stories around poor food safety, resulting in poor audits, resulting in decrease in customers and a closure of a business. Food safety and the promotion of it in your restaurant has a vast impact on brand and profitability. Food safety mistakes can cost money and damage reputation. When you get a reputation for being dirty, infested with pests, or lazy about food safety, customers simply stop coming. And it's not only food ratings on websites you need to be on top of, but the media loves a good horror story around a known brand falling foul to an unexpected order, or a list of dirty restaurants that are effectively the next to close their doors. Poor service is easier to apologise for, but it is very difficult to recover from the brand damage a poor food safety rating brings. And COVID, of course, has highlighted the public's focus on everything, and the spotlight on kitchens has never been more intense. For a business to have a strong shared culture and performance-driven goals, the owners, managers, and head chef need to be displaying and living the company's brand on all fronts. Understanding food safety practices is no exception. By investing time and resources into food safety training and fostering a positive food safety culture, you can protect the customers from health risks like food poisoning, effectively manage food allergen risks in your business, and that's a big one and a growing one. Protect your brand and reputation from complaints, negative online reviews and media scandal. Feel confident that your business is inspection ready all the time. And back to that compliancy curve. And avoid costly fines and ultimately closures. It can also help you save money on food comps for poor dining experiences or unnecessary food waste from improper stock control, increased pest control or eradication services and other operational costs. If you manage or own a food service business, you know how important it is to have qualified staff taking care of the day-to-day operations so that you can focus on long-term strategies to grow the business. Employees are the heart and the soul of every business, and it's up to us to give them the tools they need to be successful. Now, the New Zealand Food Safety Bible, as issued by the Ministry of Primary Industries and enforced by regional councils, is known as Simply Safe and Suitable. And many of you watching today that are in the food industry know this document very well. This is based on HACCP systems, which is Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Point. And this is the basis that is adopted around the world as the best practice operations for food safety. So this is a worldwide phenomenon, same as other regulatory implications with running businesses. To MPI's credit, they updated this document from the previous 200-page plus version to help simplify and make the template easier to understand. The average kitchen team needs to have read around 70 pages of this template food plan and put into action the required food safety tasks. It was and is hard for chefs to get their head around what they need to do to be compliant. How does a business promote food safety? Well, you need to show that you are taking your obligations seriously through training. It is important that the whole business understands their part in the food safety journey, and that is from the chef to the barista to the kitchen hand. Some level of formal training is a must. Start a monitoring plan. Reports should be required every meeting around food safety. If using a paper system, this will require a shared folder that all staff have access to and a manual, and it should be completed every week, noting key KPIs. Alternatively, you can provide tools to assist teams, such as up to and including digital tools, to simplify jobs and make it easier for staff to understand and achieve their responsibilities. Develop performance KPIs for teams, which include food safety elements, which may form part of a bonus scheme. Owners and managers must stay involved. Don't just expect it's done, like I was doing. Play your part. It doesn't need to be time-consuming. And digital tooling is great with this, as it provides management reports and data for your review. Now, I've just put this little slide up here because this may be of interest to some of you out there. And this is to get a picture of how your business is performing when it comes to culture. I think, Anna-Marie, you're going to put this up for everyone to read. But if you click on the link provided, it will give you access to a real handy little questionnaire that you can give to your staff. Now, this is based on Standards Australia, which is and New Zealand, which is FSANZ. It's a joint body that monitors New Zealand and Australian food safety standards. And if you give this to your employees, you might get some valuable insights around your food safety culture. So I'll leave that for you, Anna-Marie, to pop up for us. That'll be great. So
we're all set.
All done. So a big part of enabling a culture of success comes down to the emphasis you place on assisting teams. Being prepared to invest in digital tools not only empowers kitchen teams, but also gives owners, managers, and exec chefs complete ownership and visibility over daily operations, and when required, escalations of issues if and when they occur. Now, paper has had its place, but my personal experience and those of the thousands of chefs we deal with is that it is a false economy is built around shuffling paper and pretending it had no cost. The biggest cost of all is that it gives you nothing in reports or understanding as to what is happening in your business. Often non-compliance is only uncovered days before an audit, when it is too late and totally stressful and damaging to teams and brands. A failed audit will see the verifiers back in your business as frequently as every 3 months at around $170 an hour over several hours. It all adds up very quickly. Equally, it is very important to know when a major food issue occurs, such as a foreign object in your food, or a food recall notice that needs to be dealt with. Paper will not send you an alert when your freezer is running high at 1 a.m., exposing you to thousands of dollars of lost stock. Hospitality brands are embracing digital tools, using tech instead of resources to save time and focus their teams on customer experience. And if you have a reduced headcount in the kitchen or front of house right now, which is pretty much all of us, then digital tools can help you do more with less. Digital processes give back time to teams who are struggling under the current conditions with lack of staff. It empowers them to do their job and opens communication between teams and managers. Digital reduces the opportunity for error. It is super important that all members of a food business understand and have the ability to quickly review and monitor what is and has been occurring in a kitchen. We find continuity is very important in kitchens, especially when staff turnover is high. And having a simple system that is easily adopted by incoming personnel is vital to maintain practices and standards, especially when time pressure is forced upon us. Understanding what a high fridge temperature means and what has been done to protect your food is imperative to making sure that the food you are serving is safe and ultimately that your brand is protected. So thank you for your time, and I'm open for questions and happy to answer any other comments that you may have.
Yeah, fantastic. And I did realize that when we went on to make this session, we kind of realized at 10 a.m. most foodies are behind the counter working in the kitchen and doing things like that. And what I think is going to happen as well is we're going to get a lot of people watching this on the back end on their break, because I know we do have a lot of food industry people a part of Digital Boost. So I've gone ahead and put some of those that link into the chats on the various platforms. If you've got a question here for Paul, this would be the time to ask it. If you're tuning in later, I just want to say, hey, reach out to us. We can get in touch. We can help you where we can, and you can also get in touch with the folks at Chomp. They're happy to have a chat with you and align what you're trying to do with your business with what they've got going on. Really important for these compliance factors are a make or break, aren't they? I mean,
100%. And as I said before, when food safety first started being mooted in 2014, the law changed in 2016, requiring businesses to start looking at their food safety practices. MPI gave businesses 2 years, which was up to 2018, to be fully compliant. And there was this mad rush at the end towards 2018 that businesses were contacting us very regularly asking for help. So the transformation has moved very rapidly and quickly, and now it is vital, absolutely vital, that businesses play their part in making sure that their food safety practices are lived and breathed every day. And the culture in the business is really, really important to install. Giving staff the tools is really, really important as well. Now, paper, some businesses do operate on paper well, and I take my hat off to them, but the majority struggle. I struggled, and I thought I was doing a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Digital is definitely a good alternative that should be looked into, and it offers so many benefits.
Well, it's all real time, isn't it? I mean, the thing with going on paper is that it's often, there's lots of human errors there that can occur with paper, misplacing paper. someone not filling out the correct stuff that's
Yeah.
happening there. I mean, this kind of just seems like a one-stop shop that you can simplify and streamline everything that's happening and all of the different staff members that are coming into your organization, because shift workers is often the thing in food and bev. I myself have worked in that industry.
Yeah.
Sometimes days turn into weeks where you just haven't left the restaurant, and it's hard to keep track of things like this because you just don't realize how much time has gone by, do you?
Look, it's, as I say, look, Chomp, the beauty of Chomp is that when we designed and built it, I'm not a techie person. I'm just the guy that had the hospitality and the experience. So I made sure that it was built to be very, very easy to operate and user-friendly, and that anybody at any level of technical ability, it does not need to be scared of using the Chomp app, because it is quick and easy to understand. It displays every day what needs to be done. It gives the tools to quickly record what needs to be done. And it also prompts you and lets you know when something's a little bit out of kilter, i.e. your fridge temperature is over 5 degrees, Chomp will tell you, hey, you've got to do a little bit more than just record 7.2 degrees. We need to know a little bit more information about what you're doing about it. And that all that information can be collated and reviewed at a later stage on the dashboard, so that when it comes to that critical moment once a year, when you've got your auditor coming into your business, you know that you are protected and that you've got all the answers when they start reviewing and looking at what happened. You're not going to remember what happened 6 months ago.
That's right.
So if an auditor sees an issue and you've got
Yeah.
good records and notes around what you did, what the staff did, and what you did to try to stop it from happening again, then that's going to hold you in really, really good stead. And the upside of it as well is that verifiers can give you as much as 18 months reprieve between audits. So if you have a consecutive good, strong audits, then 18 months between audits, as against 3 months with a bad one, is a huge cost saving for a business.
Oh, wow. That's a massive difference, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It's really enormous. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, that's what we do here is digital. We know that a lot of small businesses, they're transitioning to bringing their stuff online or, into the digital space. And the team at Chomp is like more than happy to help get you guys set up, make sure that you feel like you know what you're doing and all of those things. They're experts in this area. We highly recommend using digital tools and getting familiar with digital tools as much as you can, just because that's the way this world is going. And even if you like to keep it a little bit pen and paper, hey, don't be left behind. The digital gap is real. There's a digital divide between people who are kind of upskilling and moving into that space that is inevitable, and those of us who aren't. And I think that adapting something like this, which is going to make your life a little bit easier, it's going to allow you to kind of sleep at night, so to speak, because you've got your ducks in a row, is a great opportunity to delve into digital in your business, and so that you can get back to doing the things that you love, which is obviously running your business and providing great service to people. So we want to thank your whole team at Chomp for coming on and helping to coordinate this with Digital Boost. Paul, appreciate your time so much here on this day after a public holiday. So hopefully all of us are dusting off after the weekend and getting our heads back into gear. I know my brain was working a little bit slower this morning. Yeah, and thanks for that lovely comment. Thanks. That's been great, very enlightening, fantastic. I'm just going to jump across to the other platforms and just make sure we don't have any questions there.
Yeah. And one other thing too, just to mention, is that your verifiers, when they're coming into your kitchens now, are all bringing tablets to the verification process. So they've gone digital as well. They used to bring a paper form as well and tick boxes as they went along. Digital is going to be the standard going forward, and at some time in the future, I do 100% believe that there will be a requirement for businesses to look at digital by their councils, because it makes records so much easier to show and display, and it saves so much time and effort. And other sort of advantages of digital is that, especially through COVID, as we saw, is that you can actually share your food audit records with your verifier through a system like Chomp, where they can then sit at their desks and look at your records without having to come on site. So even post-COVID, they are still doing this practice today, where a lot of our businesses are sending their records to the verifiers to pre-vet all the records, so that when they do come on site, it's a fraction of the time taken that they would normally have spent sitting down with you and going through your paper records, and they can then go straight to particular days or weeks when they want to talk about something in your plan. The rest of the time they then spend walking around your kitchen and just making sure that what you say is being done shows practice in your kitchen, that the areas are clean and taken care of. So
yeah, that totally makes sense. And just another comment here. Loved the talk, quite detailed, well explained. Thank you. From Raz Foods NZ. Well, I'm going to check out what that is. Raz Foods NZ. Thanks for putting your business in there. We love
thank you, Raz Foods.
Yeah, we love getting to hear about other businesses here. Make sure that you pop up any of your promotions that you've got going on over the weekend on our Facebook community group. We'd love to check out what you're doing if we're in your area. Yeah, so thank you very much. Have a nice day. You're welcome, Jack. Have a great day. Thanks everyone for joining us here today on Digital Boost. And I hope you'll join us on Thursday for our workshop. We'll be workshopping Wix. So that'll be cool with Wix certified partners. Thanks, Paul, again.
Thank you, team.
Appreciate you. Have a wonderful day.
Bye for now.
Ka kite.